Hi guys, so today we are going to talk about my 2018 makeup favorites. I'm going to kind of like section this into different categories. The reason why is because I already tried filming this, but then I got overwhelmed that in the middle of the whole filming the video I started getting migraine and it felt like the half of the video felt dry to me. That's why I didn't uploaded it. So to aid that problem, I decided to like split it into categories. If you're thinking, why does my makeup look like the previous video, it is because it's only been like 3 minutes since I finished filming that video, and I am going to like pre-film this so that way I can have 2 videos uploaded in a week. And I think that's going to be how my setup will be. Having like a toddler and a full-time job, it's quite hard for me to schedule like filming and then doing like house chores and all of my responsibility as a person. So I think this is how it's gonna be. So yeah. For the first product, we are going to start with primer. I have tried so many freaking primers and this year, but I think the most standout, and I'm pretty sure you have heard about it with me talking or seeing it in my Instagram account, it's going to be the TATCHA the Silk Canvas Primer. This little primer is a little bit hefty on the price. This is $52, but the size of it is enormous. Like, I don't know how I'll end up using this. This just gives me like a very smooth, flawless canvas that doesn't feel heavy or silicone-y, and it doesn't make me feel greasy after a few hours. Like, let's say Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I love their pore minimizing, but the original primer doesn't really work for me. It just gives me like a smooth finish, but halfway through the day I felt like it's very oily on my skin. This one doesn't do that. Also, this one is multi-purpose. You can use it as an eyeshadow primer or as an under eye primer. This is definitely worth the investment. I want to say you will use this for a very long time before you even run out of it. So that's my favorite for primers. Next up is foundation. So I have, again, this year was like my year of foundation. I usually don't go full blown on like foundation. I usually stick to what I know, but last year having the acne go back, I need to find a foundation that's suitable to what I need personally. So first is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, and I am the shade Cashew or 3W2. This foundation is wonderful. It gives me like a soft matte finish. It doesn't look cakey at all. When I have to emphasize on when I use a proper skincare method plus my TATCHA Silk Canvas Primer. If you use this straight up, or if you have drier skin, then it might look too cakey for you. But for my skin type, this is wonderful. It lasts me 16 hours. There was one day where I worked at 7 a.m. in the morning and I wore it until almost close to midnight. It's that kind of like long wearing foundation. Of course, there's like a little bit disclaimer on it. About 10-hour mark I did touch up, and then after that probably after 2 hours after the 10-hour mark it started to break apart, but it's still there. There's any sort of like skipping or like breaking apart, you can definitely fix it with that. Next on my favorite, and I think this is going to be my all-time favorite foundation, and I'm really hoping they won't discontinue this, but so far from the review, and I've seen this on like discounted stores, but this is going to be the Nars All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. This is so amazing. It makes me look so soft matte, again just like the double wear, but it's lighter in finish. Like, it's lighter in weight as well. You know how when you feel like sometimes the foundation is too thick that halfway through the day you feel it, like you can just feel that it's sitting on top of your skin. This one, no, not at all. And I feel like Nars always hit it with their undertone for me. I am more of an olive warm undertone. Some of those olive undertone turns too green on me, or if they're golden or warm undertone turns too orangey on me, but this one is immaculate. This is such an amazing color. I am the shade Barcelona. When you first put it on, it's a little bit lighter, but as you go through your day, it kind of melts into the skin, and again, weightless. It gives you a very natural radiance. It doesn't make you look oily or dewy or just greasy in general, and I really think this is worth the price. This is $42, I believe. So this is currently an empty product, but I already have a backup of it, and this is just my favorite. I get compliments using that foundation all the time. Anyway, going to my concealer favorites. This is going to be, first is the Tarte Shape Tape. This is very drying on the under eye, I'm not gonna lie, but this brightened my under eye like nobody's business. I have shied away from it for so long. I actually emptied one, and I keep telling myself I hate it, it's too dry, it's too thick, but I keep coming back to it because it just looks so wonderful. And having to repurchase this, I think that is a good indicator that I really like it. I'm just kind of like hesitant to give into the hype, but this is really worth the hype, I can definitely say. It lasts a very long time. On the double wear, I have to prep my skin really well. If I don't put a heavy eye cream before I put like my concealer combination, which I'm gonna show you in a second, it tends to look drier. But with having to prep it properly, it just gives you a really good finish. I like to mix that with this one. This is the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. The first time that I bought this, I just don't like it. I don't like it. I bought it in the shade Ginger the first time I got it, and it was just, it looks so ashy. It doesn't have a sheer coverage. And then I was looking for correctors. My favorite back then was the Bobbi Brown corrector in Dark Peach, but that is a little bit too thick for my dry under eyes. So I was like, you know what, let's just give Nars Radiant Creamy another try, and I got the shade Ginger, which is a little bit more peachier than the not Ginger, in the shade Biscuit, which is a little bit more peachier than Ginger. And ever since I got this is my perfect under eye corrector. This is my perfect under eye corrector. If you know me personally, and if you've seen me without makeup, you know how bad my under eye darkness is, and this corrects it wonderfully. It just doesn't give you that cakey look like a Bobbi Brown concealer would. This one just corrects it, and it's quite sheer, so it's not enough as a like on its own, but mixed with the Tarte Shape Tape, it kind of is, just gives me that wonderful like brightened under eye. And I repurchased this again this year, like the Tarte Shape Tape. I repurchased this, and I will continue doing so until I find something similar to this. Next, for bases, I am going to cover the setting powder. Setting powder is really important for oily skin, especially for me. I live in Florida, which is a humid state. It's a very humid state. Even right now, where it was supposed to be like 60 degrees outside, it's not. It feels like 90 degrees, and there's no humidity, but it's most likely very humid. Humidity and makeup hates each other. It always breaks apart. So it's very essential for me, having an oily skin and living in the state, to powder my foundation. So my Ride and Die, and I've repurchased this for so many times, I cannot even count how many times, but it's going to still be the Laura Mercier translucent powder. And I don't know, this just controls my T-zone really well. One product though that comes so close to it, and I'm almost out of this, and this one I'm completely out of, and it's gonna cost about 1/4 of the Laura Mercier, and this is the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. I am the shade 20 light medium. Usually I go for like medium dark, but for this particular one I feel like if I use a darker powder it looks very dull, but this is amazing. I get compliments with when I pair the Nars Weightless foundation plus the Fit Me powder. I always get compliments how smooth my foundation is looking and how smooth my skin looks. I don't know what's in this, but it's like $5, $6 at Walmart, and definitely if I were to choose between this or the Laura Mercier, I think I'm gonna choose this one. It does what my Laura Mercier does, but this one is a lot cheaper. The only thing here is it does have a little bit of color, so it gives you a little bit more coverage. If you want a sheer, if you like how your foundation look and you don't want your powder to affect that look, then go for the Laura Mercier. But if you want a little bit more coverage, just like I do, I would go for the Fit Me loose powder. And yeah, I need to repurchase this really soon. It's a wonderful product. Next is going to be finishing powder. There is only 2 finishing powder, and there are more on the luxury side. This next product is something that I have for about 2 years now, and I can tell you it is worth the money. Every penny that I spent on this particular product is worth it, and every money and everything that they put out is a favorite of mine. Not that I have a lot of them. I try not to buy so much because I have way too many. I work in a retail industry, and I do get a lot of products as gifts, or I buy products as I am, well, you get tempted if you work around stuff that you like, okay? So this is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette. It looks like this one. I can use every single one of this powder, but my most favorite is this one. This is the Radiant Light powder, and I use it as a set, kind of like not a setting powder but a finishing powder. It just gives you that ethereal glow, like a glow from within, something that your traditional like loose powder wouldn't do, or like a highlighter wouldn't do. It's not as blinding as a highlighter, but it's a very subtle, it's very skin-like. I think that's what I like about it. As much as I love my highlighters, I tend to shy away from them because I do have a little bit of a texture problem. With this one, this is so wonderful. As you can see, I am almost hitting pan on it. Almost. This shade right here, this is called Incandescent. I don't use a lot of it because I'm about NC 42, and I feel like it just gives me a little bit of ashiness to it. I use it as a brow bone highlighter or an inner corner highlighter, but because I only use that highlighter in those 2 areas, it's going to take me a long time to finish it. The Dim Light is a really good matte all over finishing powder. Don't be scared with the word matte if you're dry, because this one it looks airbrush. It looks airbrush in person. Like there's no pores and it doesn't accentuate texture, but there's something that kind of like a healthy looking skin. I like the combo of dim light and radiant light personally on my skin tone. I'm about NC 42 in MAC reference, but this is definitely worth the money, and I would continue buying this forever. I am that committed to Hourglass. But not the least is going to be this so expensive product. It breaks my heart because I want to repurchase it so many times, but the amount of time, like how fast I use this product up by just using it in one area, it's just ridiculous. And this is going to be the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Finishing Powder. Oh no, Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. And I am the shade medium. As you can see, there's a big hole in that powder. And I only use this on my under eye. I think I have this for about 2 months now or more. Probably, yeah, about 2 months, 2 or 3 months now. And I use it almost every single time. And I only use it for my under eye because it's so expensive. This is $45 for a finishing powder. I use it as a setting powder instead of a finishing powder, to be honest, for right here, because I don't like baking anymore because of my dryness underneath my eye. This just brightens my under eye so well and so beautifully, and I think it is definitely worth the $45 price if you're more on the drier side. If you're on an oily side, if you want to put it all over your face and you don't mind spending that kind of money, I did not really see a huge difference when I'm using it all over my face, just on my under eye. Maybe because I have oily T-zone and I have dry under eye, just like I keep saying. Yeah, so for this one, I think I'm gonna repurchase this if I don't find anything similar or cheaper than this. It's just really good. Sad to say, but it's really, really, really good, even for the price. So that's about it for my 2018 favorite video. I hope you guys like it, and like the previous video, I'll link all of the products. I'll write down all of the products down below, and I'll link some of my like social media accounts so you guys can like talk to me, interact with me, comment, like, share, whatever. Please subscribe and help me grow my channel, and hopefully I'll see you soon next time on my video, and then we're going to tackle bronzers and blushes next time. You guys have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.